Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Extinguisher 10, and today we have a bit of a news/opinion kind of video. We are talking about how Major League Baseball is considering moving all of their games to both the Arizona League and the Grapefruit League for the 2020 season. And there are a lot of details about this. First, we're going to start with how it would be divided up. So the Arizona League, it would consist of a division called the Northeast. It would be the Chicago Cubs, the San Francisco Giants, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Colorado Rockies, and the Oakland A's. In the West Division, it would be the Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago White Sox, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland Indians, and Los Angeles Dodgers. In the Northwest, we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers, formerly in the Northwest. I wouldn't call them actually in the Northwest. You've got the San Diego Padres, not even in the Northwest. Maybe it's where they are located in Arizona when they play. That's probably more like it. You have the Seattle Mariners, the Texas Rangers, and the Kansas City Royals. In the Grapefruit League, we are looking at, in their Northern Division, the New York Yankees, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Detroit Tigers, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. In their Southern Division, it would be the Boston Red Sox, Minnesota Twins, Atlanta Braves, Tampa Bay Rays, and Baltimore Orioles. And rounding out the new temporary divisions, yes, I forgot to mention this would be temporary just for the 2020 season. In the Eastern Division, we are looking at the Washington Nationals, the Houston Astros, the New York Mets, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Miami Marlins. So that is how they would divide the teams out. And really, what does this mean? The idea is that they're going to keep everyone isolated only in these few complexes and towns. They can actually use both the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays facilities for playing their games in the Grapefruit League, and the Arizona Diamondbacks stadium for playing games in the Cactus League. Everything else would be at the normal facilities that they normally play their spring training games in. And the idea is they would keep these teams isolated for the most part from the general public, so that way if something did get in there, it would be only isolated to Major League Baseball players. There's been talk about expanding to the 40-man roster for the entire time to help these teams out in need, because let's face it, Florida and Arizona are not exactly weather-friendly places to be during the middle of the summer, which is what they're hoping to do. It's looking like they're pushing it back to more of a 4th of July start. That's, in my opinion, pretty optimistic, but we're going to get to the opinion later. I still want to talk about the structure of this. They would also not be using dugouts. They would have all the players in the stands, making sure that everyone is at least 6 feet apart. They would also not be using a home plate umpire and using the the electronic strike zone instead, which is almost an improvement because at least then you won't have the mistakes. That's kind of debatable as it takes some of the human element out of the game, but anyway, one less person to be exposed, and especially these umpires are not these young sprites like the players. They are older people who are in greater danger if they actually catch this disease. So from that aspect, it's not a bad idea. They've also talked about having double headers every day, not for every team, but a double header in each of the leagues, just because it would be unbalanced and you would have one team play 2 games, just so that way every team plays every day and then the one team plays twice in the one day. There's also talk that they would be using the designated hitter in both the American and National League because, of course, you've got this crosstalk. It's not American and National League teams anymore. You've got them intermixing completely new leagues, and they would actually do just like we have now. We'd have our playoffs within the Arizona League and the Grapefruit League, and then they would face the winner of each would face each other in a new World Series, a new realigned 2020 World Series. It's kind of exciting, but here's where I get to my opinion on this. So even if you can keep these players isolated from the general public, they don't see anybody, they're just taking buses, they're not flying, which is also part of the plan. That way you don't have all this travel and exposure through airplanes. That's all fine and dandy, but how are you supposed to play this game when you're trying to be 6 feet apart? How do you lay down a tag? How do you run the bases? I mean, what are we doing here? And what are we gonna do? Pitcher pitches it, ball's hit into play, I don't know, third baseman picks it up, throws it over to first. Are we gonna get out a sanitizing wipe and swipe down the ball after each play? I mean, the game is already taking long enough as it is. Come on, pitchers, just throw the freaking ball like they used to. Batters, get in the box. You don't need to be Nomar Garciaparra. There is one of him. We don't need... How many players are there? 2,000 in the league? We don't need that many. One, Nomar Garciaparra, that's it. But anyway, but I digress. So, are we sanitizing the ball? Are we not? I mean, you're getting a lot of exposure. Do you just throw the ball away? That's a lot of balls to be wasting. So, really, what are we doing here? Currently, as we speak, the curve is starting to flatten, but it's not really flattening out that much. Instead of doing this, it's just doing this. And I'm talking about new cases every day. It's kind of flattened off at about 30,000 new cases in the United States every day. It hasn't done this. Granted, I haven't checked in about 2 or 3 days, but still 2 or 3 days, and it hasn't done this number yet. I don't see how this is gonna happen anytime soon. It's maybe something they could pull off for a 1-month September season, and then you go into the playoffs and do some kind of funky format like that. Maybe. But July, that's not gonna happen. Or at least not in a safe way for these players. And we have to think about the safety of the players. As much as I want to see Major League Baseball, and I really do, it's just not realistic to happen. We're most likely not going to have a vaccine right now. They're working on it, but it's likely going to be a good year out. So we're going to be spending the next year, give or take. Hopefully they get a vaccine sooner than that. But we're going to be spacing ourselves out from everybody for quite some time. I'm thinking, unfortunately, realistically, we're not going to see Major League Baseball in 2020. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they figure out some way to make this happen, that we get a vaccine and we get ourselves some, let's be real, a short little September season, and just to kind of get our joys out of it. But I'm not going to be holding my breath over it. But that's my opinion. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section down below. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think it is a good idea but a little hasty? Or do you think it's just a horrible idea? We need to stay 200 feet away from each other and just wait until we have a complete vaccine and everything's okay again. And if you want to see more videos like this, why don't you jump on down, hit that big red subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you enjoyed the video, why don't you give me a big ol' like on it? It really helps out the channel. And we have more than just these news/opinion pieces on Major League Baseball. We do the same thing with the NFL and football. And of course, the main content here is video games. We have Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr., MLB The Show 20, and Madden 20. All kinds of different stuff going on. It's all fun. It's all good. And until next time, this is Extinguisher 10 signing out. Have a great rest of your day.